what we've got so far, Jordan, is that you've got the 12 years of sales experience and then also in outdoor living, not so much with life insurance. You came across my podcast with Cody and you're like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, maybe potentially a career in life insurance would be phenomenal. It kind of sparks, obviously, instead of looking at PNC, which is what you were looking at with Allstate, that you were saying, okay, man, maybe life insurance is more the better route financially, short term and long term. Loved your response when it came to you saying that, hey, what really separates you from everybody else? The number one thing I look for in somebody is grit, period.
Mm.
Number one, hands down. Angela Duckworth wrote a book about it, massive psychologist. It's not your SAT scores. It's not how freaking awesome you are when it comes to your DNA, like secretariat, bloodline. No, straight up, it's your grit. It's your grit.
Mhm. Yep.
How much are you willing to fight for something? Matter of fact, I'm actually speaking at the next 8% Nation. Gosh, when is it? Like next month. And you think to yourself, you're like, okay, what's the one thing that people really need to understand? And I've come to research that there's only one question that matters in your life every single day. And Jordan, the one question, you really already nailed it because you wake up at 3 a.m. every single day to better you so that you can fulfill the promises for your family, your wife,
Mhm.
Harley, your son, Hudson, and soon to be Sailor. And the one question is it worth fighting for? Every day you get faced that. Is it worth fighting for? That's the only question that you should ever ask yourself. The one that matters when it comes to decisions. Is my wife, Harley, worth fighting for to
Mhm.
have a different life? You're 32 years young. Is $3,200 a month. If that's probably your mortgage right now, right? Okay,
It's
not saying
it's
that
huge.
is,
It's
right? But
huge.
yeah, like in today's world, holy cracker jacks, we've got people coming out of college and high school getting apartments that are $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So it's really insane. So let me ask you this. Going into a little bit more, what was missing, by the way, for the past 12 years, you working in the outdoor living space? What is the number one thing that's missing out of your career right now?
You know, I've tossed around ideas and thoughts, and it never. It just comes back to like, are what's my purpose? Am I really making that big of a difference in people's lives? Temporarily, yeah. If I can offer them some sort of discount as far as, hey, you've got a hazardous tree, let me instead of charging you my normal rate of $10,000, let's cut it down to eight. Does that work for you?
Right.
Trying to offer those solutions for short term, for them, that's nice. It's great when they say thank you so much. I appreciate it. Like, thank you for the price.
Right.
Without being so, it was more than that, but um, there's just not really a sense of purpose there. I'm changing landscapes, making them sustainable for customers, hopefully. But they could in 5 years, somebody new could come in and own the property and completely change it. So it's kind of like, is what I'm doing really fulfilling? No, no, not really. Like I said, it's a career that I saw myself staying in long term, just because of the company I work for. It's got amazing benefits, but I'm not necessarily changing people's lives, and that's kind of been something that's always been on my mind and on my heart. Is I've thrown around the idea of wanting to be more of like a public speaker. I've wanted to get into doing things like that.
What's
Not
up?
really like, yeah, I'm kind of like, let's put our boots on, time extra tight, let's get out there and let's earn our paycheck today. There's something about working hard, and you leave work and you're like, dang, that sucked, but hey, you made what you're worth today. You at least did that. So um I would say what's been missing though is a sense of purpose. There's no fulfillment in cutting trees down every day, all day long. So
For sure. Let me ask you this. When it comes to struggle, when it comes to the fact of having grit, well, to have grit, you've got to be able to build a high capacity for, I guess you could say, solving problems, overcoming problems, struggles. When you're stepping into the world of life insurance, you're going to have grumpy seniors. You said earlier about the maturity of the fact of not having a guaranteed paycheck. Okay. And I can rebuttal that rascal and get it all the way down to the bone kind of thing, right? Like
yep.
if somebody tried to even offer me $32 million as a, hey, this is your salary over the year or whatever, no, I wouldn't take it. I don't want anybody to ever have the opportunity to say, no, sorry, you only have 2 weeks of vacation a year. you have to have this type of health insurance, you have to have this type of 401k. Absolutely not. No.
Mhm.
And it's just we talk about financial freedom and I guess you could say the American dream to have choices. But why is it that only 5% really actually have that kind of a life? Everybody,
Right.
everybody wants the millions of dollars in your bank account, but not everybody is willing to become the type of person that it's going to take to become a multimillionaire. And
Right.
the number one thing, in my opinion, from my experience over the past few years of making over 1 million every single year in deposits, is how you respond in the heat of conflict. So I want to know how you respond in the heat of conflict and struggle.
So, we're dealing with customers that are heated. Working in the outdoor industry, you definitely come across a lot of those people because it's, they're paying for what they expect you to do. So, if the sales rep isn't concise with their wording on what's being done, there's a lot of room for interpretation. So, uh, what I do is, as a sales agent, I make sure that what I'm there for is, and what I'm leaving with is what the customer is needing. So I don't run into a whole lot of grumpy people doing sales. There's a lot of you know, people that are just angry in general, angry at the world. So dealing with them is a little bit different. I'm just a straight shooter. I don't try to beat around the bush. I'm say, hey, this is how it is. I feed off of energy. So if they're kind of grumpy, I'm like, hey, I clearly know that you've got an objective here. Let's not waste each other's time. But as I'm doing the work, so if I'm dealing with an angry customer, I just offer a solution. That's the best thing you can do is just hear what they have to say. Sometimes it's hard to be a servant when you're being treated like one. So bite your tongue, listen to what they have to say, and just offer a solution, and hopefully that solution works out in both parties' favor. But you eat a lot of poop sandwiches, and it's just kind of I don't let it get to me, to be honest with you. Long story short is everybody's gonna have a bad day. Sometimes they just need somebody to take it out on, and that's okay. It stinks, but if you can leave them happy, then that's what matters.
Amen. Who inspires you? Like, who's your hero?
Man, I have loved throwing that question around. I'd have to say my dad. Man, what he's put me and my brothers through is rough. He expected a lot out of us. You would have thought we were growing up in a military home, but that dude worked so many hours, so many late nights, sold so many things. He would buy things, fix them up, turn around to sell them just to make ends meet
Right.
while working 2 to 3 full-time jobs. I mean, it was, if I wanted to hang out with my dad, which he was a printer, a majority of my childhood, I would actually go to work with him just so I could hang out with my dad.
Mhm.
So, he's not the best hero, but he's my hero. That is my Superman. And he's since had really bad health issues. And, that's another reason why getting into life insurance, because they don't have any of that stuff. That's another driver for me. I know there's people out there in the same situation I am in. Literally watching your dad crumble. Yeah, he would be my hero. Just the grit, determination, the sacrifice. If I can be somewhat close to that, then I feel like I'm doing it right.
What is going on with your dad?
So 10 years ago, Christmas morning, he had a heart attack. He ended up having a quadruple bypass, and he actually died 2 times on the way to the hospital. So then, see here, about 6 years ago, he had a stroke. Actually, drove himself to the hospital. That one wasn't that bad. December 28th of 2 years ago, he had a massive stroke that left his whole left side debilitated. So he's been dealing with that, and he was never really going to get fully back to what he was before. A lot of people had a lot of hope. I wanted there to be hope, but I kind of saw the writing on the wall. So he had another stroke after that one that kind of sealed the fate, sealed what his life's going to be like while he's here on Earth. So um, didn't seeing that. So yeah, that's he's a tough sob. I will say that.
Whoa. So
Mm-hmm.
married? Like his
Yep,
wife?
yep,
Okay.
yep. My parents a lot of people would say they should have divorced a long time ago, but they stuck it out. So
Yeah, for sure. So she's obviously taking care of it now.
yes, yeah, yeah. My mom's actually been a full-time homemaker my whole childhood. Yeah,
So financially, how are they doing?
awful.
Oh,
Yo, yeah, my it's worse now, obviously, because my dad's not working. But it's been, my parents have constantly been in the same paycheck to paycheck mentality, eating the same meals week in, week out, since I was a child. And yeah, I can't handle spaghetti. I will say that. So it's their financial situation is no different than it has been for the 32 years I've been alive. So,
whoa.
yep.
Okay. Wow. Oh, so I'm assuming, yes, your dad is your hero. What's the word? What's the word? Because my dad was obviously my hero too. He taught me a lot of life principles growing up, and definitely felt like he gave me the environment of grit, if that makes sense. You
Oh, yeah.
can't put that in somebody, but you can definitely, in my opinion, create the environment where that can exist.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, a kid, but it's pretty cool to be able to, I guess you could say, what's the word as a kid to be able to give them a life as their kid, a life that maybe potentially they dreamed but they lost hope in.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Know,
that was
private
my dream.
nurses, potentially.
Mhm.
Being able, if your dad's never gone out of the country, how cool would it be to take him to wherever he wanted to go?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my absolute dream. My dad was he was my hunting buddy. So, that guy took me outdoors whenever he could. Deer season was a family tradition that we never missed out on. Last year, or I guess 2 years ago, last year was the first year I have never been at all. 2 years ago was the first year I never without him. So to be able to forget going out of the country, forget seeing the beach, if I could take him to the deer stand one more time, that would be more than what I could ever ask for sure.
Amen. Well, I do believe that you will make that happen for sure. And I hope that you write that down and I hope that you keep that on your radar.
Absolutely, trying.
Yeah.
It's just four-wheel wheelchairs aren't cheap. So
Amen. So it's almost like you got to make that kind of money to be able to have those kind of resources, right?
yep,
Uh,
absolutely.
So I have asked all of my questions. What questions do you have for me, sir?
So is there, I guess, what would be the next step in the process?
The next step would pretty much if I feel that you would be the right fit for this company
Okay.
or not. And what's your next question?
Next question would be, so if we were to proceed when it comes to licenses and things like that, since I'm no longer insured, I could go and try and find all of my old stuff, but we've moved since then. So trying to find all that stuff that's in boxes that wasn't labeled properly or just never thought would ever use again. Got to try and find all that stuff. So what would it be like to get licensing and all that stuff?
You're looking at about 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. And is that something that is 100% my responsibility?
So it's $49 to get through
Okay,
the free licensing program. You are in the state of Missouri, so I don't know what the state fee is.
yeah,
I'm over in North Carolina, so typical state license ranges anywhere from I would say $80 all in total for your state exam, your state fees, background check, and fingerprint check. It goes anywhere from $80 to I'd say like the top state. I think ours is like pretty high and expensive, like $253, all encompassing.
okay,
South Carolina is probably the cheapest state. I do not know about Missouri though. We do have it. We do have a few agents out there in Missouri. Missouri is a phenomenal area, and I guess to probably give you a little bit more comfort and peace of mind, based on everything that you have said to me, I'm a firm believer that things happen for a reason. I'm a firm believer. That is not a word, actually. I'm a firm believer that things do happen for a reason. And you know, in my opinion, you're exactly where you are supposed to be right now. I think that when you were talking about the maturity that 10 years ago, 12 years ago, you're exactly right. It wasn't the right time. Some people, they look at this industry, they look at the stats, they look at the figures, the amount of money that's involved in this, like straight up, what is it? It's over $1 trillion right now, actually, as far as a generating revenue stream currently right now in the United States, just the financial sector with life insurance and annuities. Sick money that's going on right now. And it's already projected that over the next, what, 5 years is going to go to 4.33 trillion. Stupid money. Okay. That being said, most people would say, gosh, I wish I would have saw this coming out of college. And it's almost like the person that's 5 years old that wants to learn how to drive a car. Well, you can't do that because you're five. You got to become 16 years old to get your driver's license. And it's the same thing with us is the capacity has to be there. And so, oh, there's my daughter, by the way.
You're all good.
I know. Thank you so much. You want to say hey to Jordan?
Hello.
He's got a little baby girl in his wife's belly. Guess her name's going to be Sailor. Isn't that pretty? That's going real pretty. That's awesome. She's my little chicken nugget. I tell you what, she's awesome.
You're all good.
But that being said, based upon everything that you've, in my opinion, it's not what you've gone through, it's how you've honestly been able to overcome your response to things. Dude, you've got grit. I know that you said one day maybe being a public speaker. I do believe that God has written that on your heart to be able to have a
Yeah.
story, have a journey, and then be
Yeah.
able to share that with other people. You cannot teach what you have not done.
Exactly.
There's nothing worse than somebody preaching something that they've actually never earned or that they've never actually gone through. I know that you're a fighter. I know that you've got grit. I love the determination that you've got. Also, you're exactly right. Whether it's trees or cutting down trees or landscaping, sales is pretty much a language that's very universal. And it really doesn't matter what field you're in. What matters is if you're looking at where, I guess you could say, gosh, where the economy is right now, where
Yeah.
inflation is right now, and what careers are creating the American dream for people. Okay, well, clearly financial services is. And that being said, dude, it would be an absolute honor, Jordan, for you to be a part of this team. 110%. I think that you've got what it takes right now, straight up, that if within 2 to 3 years you're not making 40 to 50 grand a month take home and income, then everything that you told me thus far isn't true about yourself. What you have in coachability, what you have in humility, you know who's guiding you, you know who made you, you know also that someone else's opinion of you doesn't matter because all that matters is his opinion of you.
Yep.
And I think I can tell that that's how you live your life. You have a big why. It's, I don't like saying the word it's emotional, but it's a why that will drive you when it comes to your dad, when it comes to Sailor, your wife, and to be able to provide for your family a life that it's not about them, what you dreamed of. It's a life that potentially you probably prayed for
Yeah.
prosperity, peace of mind, choices to be able to take your wife on a second, third, fourth, fifth honeymoon if you want to in a year. You can do that, right? But I think, dude, you got it. I think you talk about significance. That's huge right there. That's a word that a lot of people don't use in today's language. And that's big. So you had me at that word. So you had me at grit. I'm a pretty good judge of character. So you're
I
worth,
appreciate that.
dude, you're worth millions. And I hope you know that.
I appreciate that.
So I think that you've been a closet winner the past 12 years, but I think at the same time, God's just been pruning you. That's it.
Yep. Yep. Well, that's no pun intended, right? No, pruning. That's because I'm a pruner, is what we call them out here. So
Wow. Okay. Well, then there you go. And I just tried to prune for the first time in my life in Scotland. So
yeah.
let's go.
Yeah. Oh man, I
Man.
appreciate that. That's very very thoughtful to hear.
Yeah.
It's definitely I'm definitely my own worst critic. I'm the toughest person on myself day in and day out. You know, I'm kind of so I was a wrestler growing up. So
Oh,
if you know anything about wrestlers, we're kind of psychotic in a way.
nice.
You have to love dying a little bit every single day to get better. So that's kind of my mentality. I mean, waking up at 3 a.m. My wife made a comment one day. She goes, we were with a group of friends and they're being weird. They're talking about me working out and stuff. And she
Yeah.
goes, well, he loves waking up at 3 a.m. And I look at her, I'm like, are you crazy? was like, you think I love waking up at 3 a.m.? Could I wake up at 6 and 7 and go do this? I was like, I would love to do that. I was
Right.
like, the reason why I wake up at 3 is because I don't miss out on any family time. You're over there snoring, the others are snoring. I was like, there ain't nothing to do. So I was like, but if I come home after work, I can't just go leave and work out. I was like, I got to be a husband. I got to be a father. I mean, this is
Right.
that is the life that I chose. So I mean, not very many people are going to do that and are willing to do that. So 3 a.m. wake up calls, that's been my life for 8 years, 9 years now. So, but yes, the grit and determination is definitely there. Like you said, I think if I would have done this coming out of college, I think I could have been successful. I think it would have taken me a lot longer just because I would have been more in it for the money aspect. And I don't think that you should chase the money. I think the money should just be um, what's the word I'm looking for? It should just happen organically. I think if you do the right thing, you do what the Lord has called you to do. Be here. He's got you here for purpose, with a purpose, on purpose. So if you stick to that, I think everything will come with time. I just don't think you can rush things like that. So waiting till now to do this, like, is it the best time? Probably not. I've got parents leave at my job now. I've got plenty of vacation time to take. Getting ready to have a newborn, so it's like, is this really the best time? Maybe not, but do I feel like God is kind of calling me, saying, "Hey, like this is kind of where I'm wanting you to go." I think that there's bigger things that if I was to jump in and do something like this, that it would set myself up for my dreams later on, within the church. So, yeah, I'm excited, encouraged, and want to make a huge difference.
So that being said, the next step is, you had a first question too. What was your first question that I totally did not answer?
What I've got is talking about licensing,
Oh,
I
yes.
believe, or I asked what the next step would be,
Okay.
but
So next step looks like this. Know that the past 10 years, one of my biggest skill sets is not only launching agents, but developing them into the leaders that they hope to be. Not what I hope you to be, but what
mm,
you want to be. And I can't teach you how to make $142,000 a month. I've not done that yet, but I've done 141,000. Okay.
there you go.
So once we get to that boat, that'll be a little bit different. That being said, your next step is you want to pass your pre-licensing as fast as you can. It's 20 credit hours. It's either 20 or 24. I can't remember. It's an online course. Most people pass it within, I would say, 5 days. Here lately, I feel like, shoot, some of them are passing within 3 or 4. You want to study, you want to understand the material. Then you got to pass the state exam. If you pass the pre-licensing, which is $49, the course, because we give you a discounted rate, I'll pay the $49 back the moment you pass the pre-licensing within 2 weeks.
Okay.
Do not quit your job yet. I'm assuming that you have to do a 2 week notice, correct?
What? Okay, I already put it in. I thought I
Did
was
you?
stupid. No, 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 no.
Okay.
I'm
All
just
right, done. All right. Don't do that. But I will say you've got to be able to, you talked about coachability. I'm very strategic about somebody's exit and then also entry here when it comes to you making money and
Mhm.
replacing the income of $3,200 here within your first full month. You just got to understand that where we are and what we're doing, if you can bet on yourself, then if you suck, you'll make $3,500 in a month. Like, I'm not kidding you. Nobody on my team in their first full month, like first full month. Okay. Like, I don't even know what is today. Today's June 8th. So this would not be your first full month. First full month will probably be July. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, you will absolutely, on average, and I'm going to say that you're okay. Don't take this the wrong way,
You're
but
good.
I can't tell if somebody's great yet or even good yet until they're out on the field and they come across chaos and struggle and grumpy seniors. That's when I start learning the type of person I'm working with
Mhm.
is not what they say, it's what they do. Therefore, when you get out there on the field, I already know that you have a high level of people skills, you already have a high level of emotional awareness, but you got a lot of grit. Therefore, you'll make $5,000 your first full month easy. In my opinion, if you're not making 10,000 in your first full month, something's not right. like
Gotcha.
legit. Like in other words, like the activity, like something either happened, like health wise for yourself. But 40 hours a week for us, we've got people that are 21 years old freaking making 12,000 in the first full month and then doing it again the next month. Okay. Again, I'm very, very, very big on you've got to replace your income. So that's my number one thing is you've got to replace that. I know that, you know that. It's very imperative every single day. You talk about massive accountability, coachability. Who I would put you direct to, I do not know yet. So I've got, I think 12 or 13, really literally not even counting because I moved some people around. I've got 12 or 13 agencies and I would put you direct to one of my managers. So in other words, you'd have them and then you'd also have me. So who I'd put you direct with, I don't know yet until probably you pass your state exam. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I got to pray about it. It's got to be a magical relationship as far as business goes because you guys are going to be in business together and I need to make sure that you guys sync together. Okay.
Gotcha.
Like they can really bring out the best in you. What other questions you have?
How much time you got?
Uh-huh. Well, I literally have 3 minutes. So
Um,
I've got 3 minutes. But that doesn't mean that I can call you afterwards. I've got a 30-minute Zoom, a coaching Zoom with one of our agents. So I've got to go ahead and hop off within 3 minutes and then I'm happy to call you back and go over any other questions that you have.
I've got a list, and it's kind of, I don't think all of them have to be answered or anything like that. I guess what
Call you back. How about that?
sure, sure. I'll kind of go through them again and just make sure that they're even worth asking. So,
Or add to the list.
or add to the list.
Cool. Any
Thank you.
question you have, buddy? All right. Well, I'll call you back. Congratulations and welcome to the
Thank
team.
you.
But
Thank you.
unofficial. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Gotcha. Thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome.